Good morning, everyone. I note that a quorum of City Council is present. I recognize Councilman Jeffrey Jay Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I asked for a leave of absence to attend to other council business outside of chambers, and I asked to be voted on aye on all bills and resolutions today.
Thank you very much. It shall be duly recorded and leave is granted. The chair recognizes Councilmember Gilmore Richardson for a motion concerning resolutions on the final passage calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit the use of a consent agenda to consider the following resolutions on the final passage calendar. Numbers 260569, 260571, 260572, 260573, 260574, 260575, 260576, 260577, 260582, 260588, 260589, 260590, 260591, 260593, and 260595. The following resolutions on the calendar are being held. 260481.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the rules of council be suspended to permit the use of a consent agenda to consider the resolutions just read by Councilmember Majority Catherine Gilmore Richardson. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries, and we will consider the resolution consent agenda shortly. The chair again recognizes Majority Catherine Gilmore Richardson for a motion concerning the bills on the second reading and final passage calendars.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit the use of a consent agenda to consider the following bills on the second reading and final passage calendars. Numbers 250644, 260645, 260207, 260238, 260302-A, 260385, 260386, 260391, 260392, 260393, 260394, 260395, 260424, and 260430. The following bills on the calendar are being held. 250807.
I'm just asking for all visitors to please put your phones on vibrate and or silent. It has been moved and properly seconded that the rules of council be suspended to permit the use of a consent agenda to consider the bills just read by Councilmember Catherine Gilmore Richardson. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries, and we will consider the bills on the consent agenda shortly. Before considering the bills, we will consider public comment as follows. Your public comment must concern matters on the second reading and final passage calendars for possible action at today's council session. Under ideal circumstances, public commenters each will have 3 minutes to speak. However, this time limit may vary from session to session. Due to the time limit and the repetitious comments for the day, the time limit will be 1 minute. In order to be fair to all those wishing to speak, I intend to hold faithfully to the 1 minute limit.
Good morning. I'm Lynn Landes of Philly's Republican Network. Oh, it's not good afternoon. Regarding the resolution that is recommending applicants for appointment by the mayor to the Parks and Rec Commission, it appears that there was a public hearing on the subject. However, the fact remains that Parks and Rec normally does not hold public hearings, but instead conducts community outreach events. In fact, Parks and Rec has been sued on more than one occasion for violating the Sunshine Act by not holding public hearings before making important decisions. A recent example is the FDR Park expansion, which included massive tree cuttings, filling in the floodplain, and a plan to use reportedly toxic artificial turf on proposed soccer fields. It should be noted that that turf continues to be used at other parks with no health or safety warning for the public. And despite Mayor Parker's claim to be the clean and green mayor, she is still not enforcing the Healthy Outdoor Public Space Act, which was passed unanimously by City Council, and as a result, toxic chemicals are still being sprayed on our parks and other outdoor spaces, contaminating both people and the planet. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Recognizes Councilmember Landau.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am asking for a leave of absence to do some official council business. I can also be back at 2:30 if needed. I'd like to be recorded as aye on all bills and resolutions.
Thank you. Leave will temporarily be granted.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
Hi, my name is Rich Garella. I live in South Philadelphia, and I'm with Save the Meadows. I'm speaking about Bill 260430 on leasing the FDR Park Welcome Center to the Fairmount Park Conservancy. The city can't lease city property without specific authority from City Council, but this bill doesn't include the lease. You haven't seen the lease, and the public hasn't seen the lease. It's a blank check. It doesn't require the Conservancy to provide any public benefits at all with this public property. Not visitor information, not affordable food, not community use, nothing, not even public restrooms. Commissioner Slauson even described it as an upscale event space that provides revenue from the Conservancy accessible to the public all of 10 to 12 days a year. And the bill doesn't require the Conservancy to share any of that revenue. This is not the specific authority that the charter requires. It's a blank check, and council shouldn't sign it. Any council member who votes for this is voting for a massive privatization of park facilities.
We will now consider today's resolution consent agenda. I will ask that the clerk read the titles of all the resolutions on the consent agenda. After each title is read, any member may object to the inclusion of the resolution on the consent agenda. Upon such an objection and without debate, the resolution will be immediately removed from the consent agenda and placed on our regular final passage calendar. The clerk will now read the titles of the resolutions on the consent agenda.
Resolution 260569, a resolution nominating 25 individuals for consideration by the mayor as appointees to the Commission on Parks and Recreation. 260571, a resolution appointing Patrick Christmas. There are no further resolutions on the consent agenda, Council President.
The chair recognizes Majority Leader Captain Gilmore Richardson for a motion to adopt each of the resolutions on the consent resolution agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of each of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda.
It has been moved and properly seconded that each of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda be adopted. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and each of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda has been adopted. We will now consider today's bill consent agenda. I will ask the clerk to read the titles of all the bills on the consent agenda. After each title is read, any member may object to the inclusion of the bill on the consent agenda. Upon such an objection and without debate, the bill will be immediately removed from the consent agenda and placed on our regular second reading and final passage calendars. The clerk will now read the titles of the bills on the consent agenda.
21st Street, all under certain terms and conditions. 260430, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Parks and Recreation on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to enter into a multi-year lease agreement with the Fairmount Park Conservancy, under which the city would lease to the Conservancy portions of the city-owned premises known as Franklin Delano Roosevelt Park for the Conservancy's use, operation, management, maintenance, and repair, all under certain terms and conditions. There are no further bills on the consent agenda, Council President.
Thank you very much. These bills have been read on 2 different days. The question for each bill now is, shall the bill pass finally? The clerk shall call a roll, and upon being called, each council member shall vote aye on each of the bills, nay on each of the bills, or indicate those bills for which the member is voting aye and those bills for which the member is voting nay. Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Phillips.
Aye. Bills.
Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
Aye on all bills.
Councilmember Gautier.
Aye on all bills.
Councilmember Thomas.
Aye on all bills.
Councilmember Jones was aye on all bills. Councilmember Landau was aye on all bills. Councilmember Losada.
Aye on all bills.
Councilmember Young was aye on all bills. Councilmember Brooke was aye on all bills. Councilmember Harity.
Aye on all bills.
Councilmember O'Rourke.
Aye, all bills.
Councilmember Driscoll.
Aye on all bills.
Councilmember Squilla.
Aye on all bills.
Councilmember Bass.
Aye on all bills.
Councilmember Ahmed.
Aye on all bills.
And Council President Johnson.
Aye on all bills. A majority of all the members having voted in the affirmative for each of the bills on the consent agenda are passed. That completes our calendar for today. Very well done. The chair recognizes Councilmember Isaiah Thomas for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Council President. I move that council stands adjourned until Thursday, June 11, 2026 at 10 a.m.
It has been moved and properly seconded. The City Council stand adjourned until Thursday, June 11, 2026 at 10 a.m. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? The ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you all very much.